Morning, folks. Hope everyone is well. Just on my, well, this is super shaky, isn't it? Just on my morning walk, where, as you can see, I'm in Egypt in Rehab. It's a compound in Cairo, and it's Ramadan, and I really do drop off when it comes to going to the gym. So the one thing that I try to do is get a 30-minute, 10,000 steps or so walking. Right now it's about 7:30. It's about 14 degrees. It's fairly cool and super quiet. As you can see, the streets, it's just me and my friend over there. And I just wanted to share 3 insights on what we found since homeschooling our kids for over a year now, here based out of Egypt. The first thing with homeschooling that it's very cliched that I'm going to say is just simply it's hard. There's a lot of sacrifice that parents make when it comes to homeschooling. When it comes to homeschooling, when it comes to just being able to just live and exist, it's actually a lot more difficult than people think, especially for the children, especially for the mum. So for me, I feel like I got it very easy. A lot of responsibilities on my wife, who takes care of the children whilst I'm at work doing my thing. But the first thing is, if you're gonna homeschool, make sure you're committed, because a lot of DESI parents as well will say things like, oh, they should be going to schools, they need to socialise, they need to be able to learn properly. But they don't recognise that learning also comes from parents and investing a lot of time. And alhamdulillah, by the mercy of God, our children are well ahead of children their age when it comes to not just social skills, but academically. So first thing, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to stick at it. You're going to have to be tunnel vision if you're committing to it, and you've got to be able to ignore the noise, because there's going to be a lot of noise internally and externally telling you to quit, and make sure you stick at it. One thing that we saw that made a big difference, so when it comes to homeschooling, is just having the right environment, having a dedicated space, which is critical. I believe it's critical for any form of productivity. Let's think about majority of people when it comes to working from home. How many of you are actually thinking, oh, I want to be able to have my nap now, especially in Ramadan, right, where a lot of us go through that cliff in the morning and then fall badly when it comes to afternoon. When it comes to homeschooling, it's pretty much the same. If you're working from home, you're going to be more inclined to hit the bed when you see it looking at you and it looks so cozy and comfortable, especially on a cold day, right? It's the same when it comes to homeschooling. If the kids don't have a dedicated space, then expect them not to learn. So make sure you're willing to give them a separate space that's just for them and for their learning journey. Doing that, I think, is the biggest hack to creating momentum when it comes to homeschooling. That's the first step. Just really, once you've committed yourself to the process, allow your children to commit by giving them a separate space, God willing, if you can afford to do so. And even if you can't, try to think about, like, if you can't afford a separate room, try to make sure that, for example, between the hours of 9 and 3, if that's the hours that you're going to commit your kids to, that if they have a dedicated space in your house, let's say the living room, that it remains their classroom. So make sure there's a visible difference when it comes to decoration on the walls, when it comes to what they experience in the room, so you ensure that they have a different experience when they leave the room and come back to it later as a living room. Because otherwise, what happens if they don't see it's distinguished as a classroom, then they will just treat it as play. And you don't want that to be the case. You want them to be able to learn, of course, thrive, and a lot of learning does happen through play. But make sure they've got an environment that feels like a classroom at home. Final thing is, make sure you have one of the biggest hacks I feel that we undertook when it comes to homeschooling. This is my favourite walk, by the way. It's normally super quiet, but a bit late. It's a bit late to the party today, but not much going on other than the noise on the road. I just want to say that the final thing is, make sure you have external help through the process and you're sticking to some form of plan. So what I found with homeschooling, and we're homeschooling, my wife's leading the exercise, but we also have external teachers, is what has made a big difference is goal setting with the teachers. So making sure that they're aware of our standards and what we hope to achieve through the process. And then also ensuring that your wife or whoever it is as the parent has a relevant break. So she can get a relevant break, whether it's your wife or as a father if you're leading, you have a relevant break when it comes to headspace, and that comes through support. Crossing the road, try not to get run over, hence why just doing a bit more thinking. But yeah, make sure you are thinking about the headspace of the parent that is leaving or leading even the exercise, and you can think about the headspace if they have the relevant support. So not only should you provide support as a partner, but you need to make sure that the teachers are the right teachers to complement the skill set that whichever parent is leading on the exercise has. As an example, I'm very particular, and my forte would be goal setting, but for sure, away from the business side of setting things, I struggle with probably staying the course when it comes to the middle parts of the boring parts. So let's say you set your Q1 goals with the teachers or as parents, let's say it's hit February, that's the time where I'm more inclined to be bored, and that's why in the middle part of the phase my wife excels when it comes to organising the teachers, when it comes to keeping the momentum, keeping people on track, ensuring that the children know why they're doing what they're doing, providing them the energy that's needed to keep the momentum, keep them inspired. So know your strengths, and in particular know the strengths of each parent, especially the parent that's leading, and complement those skills with external support, external teachers. That's a big thing. Ensure you goal set with the teachers. As I've already said, most people go into homeschooling and they don't recognise that a lot of homeschooling is to do with just being super dedicated to why you're doing it and being extremely clear on the milestones that can be achievable. Because if you don't have milestones, if you don't have goals, what will happen is you as teachers, you as parents, will just let your children dictate the outcome of their success. And children aren't in the space, they aren't of the maturity to be able to dictate what is success and what isn't. That's why we exist as parents. So you need to make sure you are thorough, clear and committed to your goals. Once you've supported the teachers, once you've made them aware of what their responsibility is, as a parent if you're leading, make sure you stay the course through, knowing very clearly what you want your children to achieve in a way. And the final hack when it comes to homeschooling, the third tip, is absolutely make sure that the children, your children, have an ability to exert their excess energy that will develop through just simply not being able to run around a school, not being able to converse with other children. So what I found is we have two very different daughters. One absolutely is a bundle of energy, and the other one, like, mashallah, she has a lot of energy, but if she mentally hasn't exhausted her energy, what happens is there's an excess in the evening. And that's a really important thing. If you're homeschooling multiple children, make sure you know your children, but allow them, giving them the space to exert their energy, their excess energy. A great way to do that is, of course, extracurricular activities. Here in Egypt, it's something that's really easy to do. You can take your children to swimming classes. It only costs you about £20-30 a month, about $40, and your child can exert some energy. Our children, by the mercy of God, also play tennis, which is great for them. What I've also found is with the elder daughter, the one who needs to exert more mental energy, I do a quick run through when I can before she sleeps, where I do some maths, some English, as well as some exercises, physical exercises, so she feels like she's really pushed herself to the point where she's challenged herself. My elder daughter really requires that. So that's an important thing when it comes to the third thing. Make sure they have a space where they can just get that energy out, so they're not going to bed, so it doesn't exhaust you as parents, because you have to stick the course. We're 1 year in, there's so many other lessons that we found definitely has been facilitated more easily by just living here in Egypt. This is Rehab in the morning. As you can see, it's now coming alive. There's a lot to do, a lot to see in this area. I love it. I love the morning walk. Gives me some mental space. Hopefully you found those tips helpful.